So what if I told you that there was a theory hidden in the psychology literature that holds the key to improving people's motivation and developing strong club cultures? Well, I'd only be telling a half-truth because it's not actually all that hidden. In fact, the approach that we're looking at today is extremely well researched, like in hundreds of studies, and it's used in a whole range of different contexts and settings to sustain high levels of motivation. And I see this as a massive opportunity for Kendo coaches who are attempting to develop strong club cultures that are supported by super motivated people. The approach that I'm referring to is based on what psychologists call self-determination theory. In simple terms, self-determination theory focuses on understanding why people behave the way that they do by looking at what motivates them. And according to psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, there are three fundamental human needs that support our inner motivation: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Now, these needs play a crucial role in encouraging us to engage in activities willingly in ways that bring personal or intrinsic satisfaction. And according to the research, when our students' basic psychological needs are met, they are more intrinsically driven to turn up, train hard, chip in, and most importantly, learn and improve consistently over time. So it's through the types of trainings that we run and the opportunities that we create that we have the chance to increase people's motivations to be lifelong members of the club. So let's start with autonomy. This is based on the idea that people prefer to have control over the decisions that impact them and what they do. So self-determination theory suggests that by allowing people to have input into the decision-making process, for example, by giving them the opportunity to set their own training goals or choose the type of keigo that we're going to be doing this week, we can have a huge impact on their motivation. To go deeper into this, I recently connected with a colleague of mine, Dr. Takuya Hayakawa from the Kansai University of Advanced Sciences, to share his views of self-determination theory and how we can provide these opportunities for autonomy in a Kendo setting.
In the Kendo, many things are decided by sensei or decided by senpai, what you need to do or what you have to do. That is the kind of big challenge for developing autonomy. If you give everything to your players, that decreases their sense of autonomy. So we want to avoid that.
So this is a great opportunity to think about how you can provide more choices and opportunities for your students to take ownership of their training. Remember, when they feel in control, their motivation thrives. Now, I know this can be a challenge for some Kendo coaches. After all, some students, especially beginners, don't know what they don't know. Let's go back to Dr. Hayakawa.
I would say the beginners or novice or like the early stage of players need to be taught by senseis, then get some ideas from senseis or experienced player, how to practice or how you work on the practice. Then they got the idea bit by bit. The big challenge is it takes time to shift to self-determined players.
But this doesn't necessarily mean that they can't be invited to make decisions about their training goals or their work-ons. Decision-making in Kendo clubs might also mean having people involved in organising social events or deciding what design to have on their club jackets this year. There's lots of ways to do this, so let us know in the comments section below how you've tackled this in your club. The second principle of self-determination theory is competence or mastery. Now, this is all about skill development and the sense of accomplishment that comes with making progress on the floor. As coaches, when we create an environment that supports growth and challenges our students appropriately, we can support further motivation to master new techniques and strategies as the student sees and feels improvement. This requires us to have a good handle on our feedback, in particular, framing feedback in constructive ways.
Coaches can easily point it out like something missing, like, so, hey, this is not a good thing, so you should train this, or this is not a good thing, so you should fix it, or something. Of course, this is important, that like noticing your own weakness and fixing it and improving. It's the very, very important activity for all Kendoka. But in the short term, that might work. But if you see it long term, sometimes you decrease their motivation. To avoid that, I would say more pointing out good things or their like future opportunities.
So, as Dr. Hayakawa suggests, mastery and competence is all about creating an environment that supports growth and continuous improvement. And we can achieve this by setting challenging yet attainable goals for our students, providing regular feedback that focuses on their progress, and celebrating achievements along the way.
We often use the hamburger method. First, you give some good feedback, then you give some suggestion to improve more, then conclude with a good comment or something like that.
Advocates of self-determination theory suggest that this is time well spent as we attempt to build intrinsic motivation through a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. Third and finally, we have relatedness, creating a supportive and inclusive environment within our Kendo communities. The potential of harnessing this basic human need makes sense when you consider how we are social animals. Aside from the desire to develop new skills, our students also join our clubs because they're looking to be part of a group of like-minded people. So right from the get-go, ensuring that our students feel valued, supported, and connected to their fellow club members is a huge factor in creating and sustaining their motivation to attend trainings and contribute to the club culture overall. Here's what Dr. Hayakawa has to say.
The big part of the relatedness is to create the comfortable environment. Hey, this is our club. This is what we're gonna do. If the club is more focused on development, then if the player likes this value, then they have more easy to be in this club. But if these students think that I want to more compete or I want to win, that student might not be satisfied. So they can maybe quit or choose another club, but this is a part of process.
Relatedness is the backbone of a thriving Kendo community and positive club cultures. As coaches, we should be working to foster connections, encourage teamwork, and create inclusive environments where everyone feels a sense of belonging and connection.
To make it a good connection, the experienced people should share their value or should expectation or the aim of the club.
Because when students feel valued, supported, and connected to their fellow practitioners, they become more engaged, motivated, and willing to contribute to the club's culture. Based on my own experience with self-determination theory, I'm confident that this can lead to some pretty remarkable results in a Kendo club setting. In fact, the principles of self-determination theory are pretty firmly embedded in the way I try to coach in the dojo and teach students in the classroom. For example, working towards promoting autonomy, I like to provide opportunities for people to consider their options when it comes to what they're going to learn and how the session might play out. I do this by asking people to consider and express their work on for the day, what they're trying to get better at, and the possible ways that this could be done. This involves a bit of conversation time with the students before the session gets started, and it requires a willingness to go off script to try new things out. Sometimes a bit of nudging might be necessary, and it requires a bit of input and guidance from you as the coach around what and how an activity could be done. But ultimately, simply engaging in the conversation and inviting students to be involved has a huge impact on how they feel about the session overall. When it comes to promoting a sense of mastery or competence, these pre-session conversations about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it means that the feedback that we give can be better tailored to the individual in constructive ways. Now, this also allows us to shift away from generic and sometimes meaningless feedback that goes out to the whole group. As for relatedness, we often joke about the importance of the second dojo, whether that means going for a beer or a coffee after training. So inherently, we know how important it is to organize social gatherings when trying to develop and maintain positive relationships in the club. Try encouraging more conversation with members, especially your young members, about the things that are happening outside of the dojo. How's school? How's uni? How's work? How was your trip away over the weekend? And those sorts of things. Because showing a genuine interest in people, as people and not just Kendo players, will go a long way in establishing this sense of connection and relatedness.
This theory is also help you to have a long-term perspective to work on your Kendo or other stuff. Sometimes, like if you compete with others, might be able to see some difference of the skill level. But if you see the long-term perspective, eventually you might be more improved than other people. I would say that's the big benefit of self-determination theory.
Self-determination theory offers a really powerful framework for cultivating motivation and building vibrant club cultures in Kendo. By embracing these principles of autonomy, competence, and relatedness, we can empower our students, elevate their motivation, and foster a strong sense of community within our dojo.
This theory might also help you to develop the more like developing culture, I would say. If you want to win, you need to improve a lot. To improve, the self-determination perspective helps you to your students focus on development. It might take some time, but you can keep improving.
And with time and experience, this gets easier for everyone. Ultimately, though, this does mean that we need to let go of the idea that sensei knows best. While this may indeed be the case and students don't know what they don't know, we should also remember that giving these opportunities can lead to better cultures and motivated learners. There's plenty of time to get your knowledge across, and we can be way more effective as coaches when we've set up strong cultures with motivated people. Again, let me know how you have applied any or all of these principles of self-determination theory to enhance the motivation and culture in your club. I'd love to hear from you. And if you feel like learning more about how to improve your coaching skills, your club culture, and the motivation of your students, check out the videos on the screen and I'll catch you there.